Hi, and welcome to Child Development 180. This week we are focusing in on Chapter 13. While there's not a large number of slides in this presentation, I will say that they are packed full. And I also want to remind you to view the complete lecture posted in the Week 8 tab. In addition, make sure you complete your assigned reading, which is Chapter 13 in your text this week. So this week we're talking about literacy development. There's many implications for caregivers or educators or teachers in this area. So here are some of the literacy development implications. It plays a role in all types of programs, so it's not just the classroom setting. So if you're a camp counselor, maybe you are a tutor, maybe you just have some other supportive role, a nanny, a babysitter, whatnot. This can apply to you as well. It supports all children at varying developmental stages. So obviously with this course, our focus is school-age children, but just be aware that literacy development implications really range all different developmental stages and ages. Literacy support helps children feel a sense of competence and can boost their self-esteem. So I know we've talked a lot about self-esteem, self-worth, and really supporting children so they feel comfortable and confident, especially during school age time of life when they're building friendships, learning how to keep friendships, and need a lot of support in that way. And it builds on daily meaningful experiences of reading and writing. So obviously depending on what your role is and how long of a time period you are with children each day or each week, your role may play a little more or a little less in literacy development. Here's some activities that support literacy. You want to do these to the best of your ability, of course. If you only care for children, 1 hour per day each week, that would be very different than somebody who is maybe in an after-school program who spends, 2 to 3 hours with a child 5 days a week. So as much as you can, be enthusiastic in your reading, modeling reading. So even if it's just kind of some instructions or activities for the day and you're reading, model that for children. Remember, it's not just what you say that children pay attention to, but it's also what you do. Provide homework support as needed and as appropriate. Again, if you are just a pickup caregiver, maybe you just pick up the child and take them home and you really only have in the house 20 minutes, obviously you're not going to probably spend those 20 minutes doing homework every day. Provide daily meaningful experiences in reading and writing. Be careful not to make it the only focus though. Sometimes we get really focused in on reading and writing in our role, and that's great, definitely so important and can support children, but remember that there are a lot of other areas that we want to support. We don't want children just to think that we are only about reading and writing and that we don't provide any other support for them. Read to children daily, have fun with it. You can choose silly books, you can read different things to them, you can have different themes or different ideas that you really focus in on, but have some fun with the reading. You don't have to just pick up the same old book every day and read it to the child, so have fun with it. In addition to modeling reading, you want to model writing and allow children free choice in their writing. So if you have a writing activity that you do with children a couple times a week, let them have some choice in what the prompt is or kind of the flow of the writing, that sort of thing. Because when children have that flexibility and that freedom, they are more likely to enjoy it. And engage children in purposeful writing that allows for choice and fun. So kind of going back to those points I just talked about above, make sure that children are having fun with it, they're having choice, and of course this will vary again depending on what your role is with children, but let them have some fun with it. Here's some tips for you. Again, some of these will apply a little more to you than others depending on your role. So incorporate reading and writing into daily experiences. Realize that the setting can determine how much and to what extent you do. Build on the interests of children, so let them have a say in the activities. When we know not just a group or a class of children, when we know them as individuals, you are more likely to support them to a further extent or better, just because you know who they are as individuals, and you can support their interests, their needs, and their varying levels of development. Be intentional in what you do, and help build complex language skills. So obviously knowing the child will help with the direction that you're taking it. And facilitate discussions among children. This can make such a difference in the development of language and literacy, but let them have some say or some choice in this as well. You can, of course, do activities where you have a prompt and you kind of keep that the focus, but you can also use the discussion time to talk about current events. Just make sure that you're being appropriate and that there's topics that are not too sensitive. And you could build it off the interests of the children. There's so many different ways that you can do this, but facilitate these discussions not just between you and a child, but among a group of children, because this can really support them. Some further ideas: create and rotate books in a library space. Now, you may be in an after-school program and not have so much space that can stay all the time. A lot of times, obviously, with after-school programs, you use just small spaces and you kind of have to clean it up and put it away before the evening ends. And so maybe you might not have a library space, but perhaps you could figure out an area. Another idea would be to see if you can partner with a teacher who maybe does have a library space that you could use as well. Maybe it could be done in the very beginning of the after-school program while the teacher is still there, and then you kind of close up the classroom and move on to the next activity. You can design a cozy reading area if possible, or just something fun that you can do. Maybe a certain theme that you rotate. And that could be so much fun for children and help to engage them. You can create scenarios for children to write. Again, make it their interest, make it fun for them. Obviously, you wouldn't want to just pick writing on the presidents every day, right? Because the children will get bored with that. Especially if you're not the teacher. Let's say you're the after-school caregiver, or you have some other role similar to that. You can not forget about the academics, but let them go a little bit more and just pick more of a fun topic. And then obviously show interest in the things children read and write about. Display their work. So if you have children working on something for a couple of days in a row, some certain project that you guys are doing, display it when they're done. Ask questions, comment on it, let them know that you actually care and you're not just trying to keep them busy. So with that, we will conclude Week 8, Chapter 13 lecture. Again, the full lecture is posted in the Week 8 tab. And as always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to email me. Thanks, everybody.